nothing different. The Father's been good to me. So good to me. Yeah. Wave your hands if you feel me. I'm a witness. Yahawah's been good to me. So good to me. Every morning that I rise, I thank Yahawah that I'm living. Keep my enemies at bay and never leave without my fringes. 1611 with me cause I'm on a mission. Talking sheep, I pay the cost, me and my lines really live it. I don't need no glory, you don't have to know my story. Glad I made it out this world cause this world was never for me. I thought that I was. If it wasn't for the Most High who was on my side, man, ain't no telling where I'd be. Can't nobody tell me nothing different. The Father's been good to me. So good to me. Yeah. Wave your hands if you feel me. I'm a witness. Yahawah's been good to me. So good to me. Every morning that I rise, I thank Yahawah that I'm living. Keep my enemies at bay and never leave without my fringes. 1611 with me cause I'm on a mission. Talking sheep, I pay the cost, me and my lines really live it. I don't need no glory, you don't have to know my story. Glad I made it out this world cause this world was never for.
Shalom, shalom, Israel. Welcome back to Deaconstruction. Unfortunately, Deacon Kanash couldn't be with us tonight. But we are still going to get into it. Tonight's lesson is called Yahawah Will Requite. Requite. So first and foremost, to get an understanding of what that means, requite. This is Merriam-Webster. It says to make return for, repay, to make retaliation for, avenge. So it can be either one, right? And when you hear repay, you don't necessarily think anything as far as like hurt or anything like that. But then when you see avenge, you realize, oh, okay, it can really mean either one. And there's a determining factor on which one that every man will receive. Let's start off with 2 Samuel. 2 Samuel chapter 16. And verse 12.
This is the book of 2 Samuel, chapter 16, and verse 12. It may be that the Lord will look on mine affliction, and that the Lord will requite me good for his cursing this day.
So this was King David, right? King David committed an offense, and one of Saul's descendants found King David as he was traveling with some of his men. He threw rocks. He was just throwing dirt, cursing him, right? And some of the men that were with him, because remember, King David was a man of war, and the men that were with him were a man of war. They said, hey, man, he was like, why should he sit up here and talk about the king like that? He said, if you tell me to, I'm going to go over there and take his head off. He said, nah. Then he says, hopefully, first of all, he had a moment of humility. And he said, look, the Lord has bidden him to have that within his spirit, to have that frustration, to have that agitation. The words that he's speaking, the things that he's doing, he said the Lord has bidden him to do that. Then he follows up by saying, well, hopefully the Most High will look at this situation and he'll requite me some good. Because he like, man, that can mess up your day, right? Somebody throwing rocks, hit him with a rock, throwing dirt, cussing him out, making a scene, and he just like, yeah, the prophet told me that the sword would never depart from my house, but that doesn't mean it's going to be easy, and everything that he's experiencing doesn't affect him. People love to bring up King David like he got off easy. He messed up and sinned with one man's wife. He had like 8 of his wives taken. Then he had a son that was trying to kill him. Then he had people talking crazy, and I'm sure this wasn't the only one. King David, by all accounts, was a celebrity. Look at how much people are involved with celebrity gossip. You don't think people had their opinions and, things that they wanted to say? he said, man, hopefully the Lord will requite me some good for this. So we're still in the mindset of dedication, right? Rededicating ourselves. We love celebrating dedication. It's a fun time, right? Having a body. Here at True Nation, we did something for each day of dedication. We had a different theme for each night, different dress code for each night, different menu for each night. It was a blast. It was more fun than most of us, I know for a fact, I can say more fun than I ever had in the world, right? We're doing this for 8 days. Every day it's a party. And it's a beautiful celebration, but we can't celebrate and omit all the atrocities that were happening that led us to that celebration. We can't omit the fact that there was so much judgment that was happening, right? Same thing with the Passover, right? Yeah, we celebrated coming out of Egypt. There was a lot of death and destruction. All praises it wasn't happening to Israel, not in Egypt. But there's still something that happens for our deliverance. But with dedication, there was a lot of Israelites that were put to death. There was a lot of trouble that had found its way into our coasts. Let's go to 1 Maccabees, right? We talking about judgment. We talking about how before they were able to rededicate the temple, before it was all celebration and trumpets and, all praises, it was a lot that was going on in Israel to the point where the Most High had to judge. 1 Maccabees chapter 1, let's start at verse 11. We're going to get 11 through 15.
This is the first book of Maccabees, chapter 1 and verse 1.
Verse 11.
Verse 11.
Come.
In those days went there out of Israel wicked men, who persuaded many, saying, let us go and make a covenant with the heathen that are round about us. For since we departed from them, we have had much sorrow. So this device pleased them well. Then certain of the people were so forward herein, that they went to the king, who gave them license to do after the ordinances of the heathen. Whereupon they built a place of exercise at Jerusalem according to the customs of the heathen.
So there was a lot going on in Israel. And it wasn't like everything was a threat of death, right? A lot of people, a lot of Israelites, I don't want to say people, a lot of Israelites were willingly going to the heathen and joining themselves unto the heathen. It said wicked men went out of Israel and persuaded many, because again, that seems to be the common thing. The same way that somebody who don't believe you have to keep the commandments and whatever their doctrine may be, they start a YouTube and they just have to teach. They can't allow that wickedness to contain itself within them as a wicked vessel. Like mold or like a virus, it has to spread. And so these wicked men, after they got the authority, they got consent from the heathen, they came back into Israel spreading that virus, persuading people. Leave the commandments. Man, ever since we've left the heathen, we've had trouble. Yeah, but we're free. We're sovereign. We have the right to be righteous. We've had some ups and downs. Maybe we've had some issues. What nation hasn't? But all these other nations, they don't have the Most High. They don't have his name upon them. They don't have the law, statutes, and commandments. But they're going, excuse me, and they're persuading people, other Israelites, we need to give all that up and be like the rest of the heathen. And some of this trouble is going to depart from us. It's the exact opposite. You bring in more trouble to us. Because there's already wicked men that are present that would easily sell themselves out and sell other people out. That's already enough of an issue for the Most High. But now they're going and they're persuading people. And guess what those people are doing? More than likely spreading that virus. Just like a sickness spreads from person to person. You shook a hand here, you touched the doorknob there, now it's 3 people sick. You got too close, you sneak. It's the same thing with wickedness. The scriptures tell us a little leaven leavens the whole lump. So they're going in, they're persuading people. They're saying, let's go and let's make agreements with the heathen. And then it says this device pleased them well. Then they go to the king. They get further involved. Well, you know, we're not just going to do this. We're going to do this by your authority. Who is this king in Israel? Is it not commanded that we don't set a king outside of those that are of us, over us? But these men is going to a king of another nation, getting permission of what they should do within the Lord's heritage, Israel. We have to read and see, oh man, these are crazy offenses. These are spiritual felonies and some. Then I think that's when you get into what's called conspiracy. You wasn't alone. You had a whole group of people that was all consenting to doing committing some type of crime, right? They was committing conspiracy on a huge level, convincing everybody, let's leave off of what we've known and what we've been given by our God. Where we at, verse 14? Go ahead.
Verse 14, whereupon they built a place of exercise at Jerusalem according to the customs of the heathen.
And they exercised naked. That's where the word gymnasium comes from. That was what they were doing. So it's lewd behavior, lewd actions. And then these people are desiring to be lawless. So if everybody naked and you see somebody attractive, what do you think is going on in the gym? Go ahead.
Verse 15, and made themselves uncircumcised and forsook the holy covenant and joined themselves to the heathen and were sold to do mischief.
They made themselves uncircumcised. What does that mean? Does that mean they kept their foreskin and it's been growing with them? And no, they put away everything that made them holy. They put away everything that separated them from the heathen. In so much that they were no longer under the covenant. Because remember, it doesn't matter if you 10 years old or you 80 years old. Once you find out you're an Israelite, in order to be able to be welcomed into the covenant, one of the aspects you had to go through was circumcision. That was one of the necessary components to be able to celebrate Passover. There are some adults, some brothers here who, had to go get that done as adult men. So now these men, they're physically circumcised, but they've put off everything that would make them holy and acceptable in the eyes of the Most High. Forsook the holy covenant, and then they joined themselves to the heathen. You don't think the Most High was looking at this with disgust and rage? You're going to take everything that I've ever given you, and it's not that you've fallen weak or fallen short in your faith, or you had a moment I can try and restore you. You putting the Most High, the works, the ministry, the covenant, the law, statutes, and commandments, the heritage, you putting all of that down willingly to go and join yourself to the heathen, the ones that are less than, the ones that are compared to spit. Does not the Most High talk about how much of an offense it is that Esau is such a vain and profane person? And Esau had no respect to the Most High. Esau had the birthright and sold it for a bowl of soup. And he said, he didn't just sell it, I'm about to die. He said, what is this worth to me? He wasn't about to die, but that was just how little he valued it. He didn't even trade him money or a favor. He was just like, here, take this birthright. What is that to me? Now, okay, birthright goes to Israel. Here we are, our people were willingly putting it off of them, just like Esau did. Let's jump over to 2 Maccabees. 2 Maccabees chapter 4. We're going to get 11 through 17.
There's the second book of Maccabees, chapter 4 and verse 11.
Uh-huh.
And the royal privileges granted of special favor to the Jews by the means of John, the father of Eupolemus, who went ambassador to Rome for amity and aid. He took away and putting down the governments which were according to the law, he brought up new customs against the law, for he built gladly a place of exercise under the tower itself, and brought the chief young men under his subjection.
Hold on. It said, first of all, he went to Rome for amity and aid. He brought down and putting down the governments which were according to the law. So he's not going to the priests. He's not going to the high priest. He's not going to the Levites. He's not going to inquire of the Lord, hey, stuff's going wrong. I feel like it's in my spirit to step up and try and be a help. He's not doing that. He's saying, away with all that stuff. What is it? I'm finna go to Rome, and you help us. You be our aid. You be our savior. You be our king. And then it said he brought up new customs against the law. He put the law down to promote and institute things that were against the commandments. Then it said he didn't just build it, he built gladly a place of exercise under the tower itself. He was, oh yes, they're about to put me in this position and that position, and I'm going to get these type of perks, and I'm going to get this type of reward. Esau loves to sell out. That's why they promoting that stuff. Everybody's talking about all these different challenges. What would you do if it? It's like, dude, I remember a wise man told me, he said, sometimes it's just about maintaining your integrity, not what you're going to gain. And we don't even be asking questions of unlawful, like, oh, you see some dirty water. For $1 million, did you drink that? It's like, it ain't nothing unlawful in it, is it? Nope, it's just dirty. But he wasn't doing, he's doing things that are against the law. He knows the law. He's like, look, man, give me this power. This is what's going on in Israel. Before the time of celebration, this is what brought upon the slaughter. This is what brought upon the affliction. This is what brought upon the desolation. This is what brought captors that came and pulled the temple down and defiled it. Look at what's going on in Israel. Continue on.
Verse 12.
Uh-huh.
For he built gladly a place of exercise under the tower itself, and brought the chief young men under his subjection, and made them wear a hat.
And he's marking them, right? Now, I don't know why I'm picturing the dunce cap. But he gives them this hat to make them feel special, to make them feel like they're doing something that not everybody's doing. They should be proud of themselves. And under the authority of so-and-so in Rome, I'm going to give you this little special hat for you to wear so you can distinguish yourself amongst the other Israelites. Now, you done away with, because first and foremost, we have something we wear to make us holy. That's called fringes. He's the type of Israelite that was saying, nah, away with that. Don't judge me based on my friend. You can't, He doing away with all the ordinances in the Holy Covenant, and then you going to put on this hat. That's what's making you special. Because so-and-so in Rome, and under the authority of this king in Rome, and under Rome, this is what's going on. Go ahead.
Verse 13. Now such was the height of Greek fashions, and increase in heathenism manners through the exceeding profaneness of Jason, that ungodly wretch, and no high priest, that the priest had no courage to serve any more at the altar.
Hold on for a second. So for one, Jason was a huge factor, right? But not in a good way. Not in the way that Mattathias and Judas Maccabeus and Simon, and not in that way. He was a huge factor for the other side. And he was another one that was going to Rome, looking for aid, looking for permission. Give me 100 men, and I can go in there, and I'll take this, and I'll do that, and I just need your permission. Right? Total slave mentality. Total weakness. He's going, and he's putting out so much from propaganda, swaying public opinion, having the young men, which were prominent figures in the community, and were up and coming, full of potential, and, someone that you look up to because you're excited to see what they're going to blossom and become, what they're going to bring to fruition, and he's getting them influenced and prepared to be Rome. He's getting their mindset all diluted as far as righteousness, and you're going to be an asset for Rome. We're doing wickedness. No different than all these rappers nowadays in the industry. They always get those chains. It's like, man, you ain't even dropped the album yet. You got these fancy chains, and you got to have something that's marking you as you just not like all these other Jakes. Right? The priests had no more courage to serve anymore. It was so much that was going on, Shalom. It was so much that was going on. Even those that were trying to maintain their righteousness and their integrity, they was like, man. I mean, there's so many ways to look at it. Some were probably disheartened because they like, damn, people not paying their tithes no more. We going broke. Our families aren't able to eat. And then I see this dude over here. He wearing this little hat. He balling. He was having people feeling discouraged and feeling disappointed. They sitting up here watching by the day their people just conform to the heathen, turn wicked. Somebody that they was talking to last week, man, I'm going to hold out. And you see him walking around with that little hat like, oh, my God. People were just, their hearts were failing in them. They was like, man, I don't even see us being able to do this anymore. Ain't nobody coming to the temple. They all prefer Rome. They all going to the temple of Apollo and the temple of this god and this idol. They was like, man, what are we doing? So now they don't even have the courage anymore to serve. Go ahead.
Verse 14, that the priests had no courage to serve any more at the altar, but despising the temple and neglecting the sacrifices, hastened to be partakers of the unlawful allowance in the place of exercise, after the game of discuss called them forth.
So discus, which is like, it's almost like extreme frisbee, that was a game that they used to play, right? They didn't have the strength to do it anymore. Then they start selling out too. They seeing everybody else doing it. We sheep. Now, you're in a real bad space when even those that are to be the bridge between man and the Most High, being the Levitical priesthood, they're abandoning their posts. You still had some that were faithful, bringing in sacrifices. It said their sacrifices were being neglected. Oh, man, I messed up. Most High, I'm not trying to be like everybody else. Most High, I'm looking for mercy. Most High, please forgive me. I don't want to just fall into wickedness. I don't want to just fall into just being this old creature that you've called me away from. Let me bring this sacrifice in, and I'm going to pray for forgiveness. And then you get to the door of the temple, and you're like, damn, the temple, what you mean the temple is closed? This priest is all gone. They going to get their money. They going to play the game of discus and go in the place of naked exercise. And like, oh, man, so now you got the Most High's priest. Levi literally means join unto me. Join unto Yahawah. You got them abandoning their post because of influences like Alcimus, like Jason, bringing in Roman influence, Roman culture, Roman fashion, Roman authority. They bringing in all this. So we be celebrating how it turns out in the end, but we can't omit this is all the stuff that was happening that led up to that point, that led to the atrocities, that led to those deaths, that led to the temple being pulled down. This is what was going on before we ever proclaimed a victory. Go ahead.
Verse 15, not setting by the honors of their fathers, but liking the glory of the Grecians best of all.
Not setting by the honors of their fathers. That wasn't enough. And remember, our people, and it was usually kept in the temple because we talked about King David not too long ago. When he went to where they were performing sacrifice, one of the priests pulled out the sword of Goliath. They had keepsakes in history and what are the names of that? What is that called? For lack of better words, trophies from like war and battles and monumental moments. They still had the staff of Moses and Aaron. They still had the Ark of the Covenant. They still had like major pieces of our history to where you could go in the temple like a museum. Yeah, this is the staff that budded when those in Israel challenged Moses and Aaron's authority. You're like, wow, it still has the flowers on it to this day. Nobody's watering it. Nobody's in here. Like, it's just growing. Supernatural, divine intervention. That's incredible. Yeah, this the whoop-de-whoop. This the armor. So-and-so, you able to see all those things. And now, they see all this. They have all this. And they said, man, I want to go be Grecian. You know how frustrated and how disrespectful that is to the Most High? How angry this pushed the Most High to be? And guess what? This isn't too far off from what we see today, because we have the law, statutes, and commandments now. Again, all praises. And yet, how many Israelites can look in this Bible, and it ain't a gray area, it's a thou shalt or a thou shalt not. And they'll still sit up here and get on Facebook, get on Instagram, watch a podcast, watch a Lifetime movie, get it in their minds that they don't appreciate or desire something that's in this Bible, and they go after what Esau tells them is acceptable. How many people do that? Well, I just feel like, man, the Most High do not care how you feel. Especially, or specifically, you know what's crazy? I'm not even going to say the Most High don't care about how you feel. If you're righteous, he do care. Because when Ezekiel was troubled in his heart and he was vexed in his spirit and he was praying out to God, God, I'm the last one and I haven't bowed my knee to Baal, God responded to him. He didn't say, oh, you wicked and why are you questioning me? He said, nah, I got 7,000 others that haven't bowed the knee as well. He comforted him. You're not alone. You just solo at the moment. He cared to an extent as long as it's within reason and righteousness. Did not, was it Abraham that was pleading for Sodom and Gomorrah? And he said, if we can find 100 righteous, will you spare the city? The Most High said, you know what, Abraham? For 100 righteous, I'll let that city go. He said, all right, what about 50? He said, all right, you know what, Abraham? You can find 50 in there. I'll spare that city. He said, oh, let not the Lord's anger be kindled against me. 10, right? But the Most High was compromising with him. He said, you know what? I care about what you're saying. I care about the perspective that you're offering. Did not Moses plead for all Israel? And he said, Lord, if you're going to sit up here and destroy them, for one, look at what the heathen are going to say. And two, he said, if you're really going to do it, then take me instead. He said, no, I'm not going to take you. But he held his hand. So I'm not going to say the Lord don't care about how you feel. The Lord cares if it's righteous. But when you sitting up here getting in your feelings and you want to go do wickedly, oh, that's when he doesn't care. Well, I don't want to be this. I don't want to be righteous. I don't want to have to be a servant. I don't want to. Now he don't care about your feelings. Because what you're feeling is wrong. That's not in alignment with what we read and what we see and what's required to be saved. If you want to be saved, we all say we want to be saved. So this is exactly, there's a lot of parallels that we read in the scriptures because we are these people. They would sit up here and hear what the Greeks was talking about, and it's very similar to what we see now. The idolatry, the mentalities, how a relationship should be ran, the putting off. Here's the classic. All people should be one. Of course, Esau loves that. They're the lowest of the low. For him to be equal with everybody else is an upgrade for Esau. But that same old trick works every time. And us who should be supreme, well, not even should be, who should be in a position of supreme, but in the eyes of the Most High are supreme. We demote ourselves and trim ourselves to fit in this box of being equal to everybody else when they don't even have value in the eyes of the Most High. Go ahead.
Verse 16. By reason whereof sore calamity came upon them, for they had them to be their enemies and avengers.
So I just want to go through this. For one, he said, that's the reason sore calamity came upon them. That's the reason why it got so bad. It wasn't like, oh, the Most High just sitting around, oh, what am I going to do today? You know what? I haven't messed with the Israelites in a while. The Most High said, I know the way I think about you, that your end should be good. He said he was frustrated bringing our people out of Egypt and then having all these issues with them in the wilderness because he said, I couldn't wait to bring y'all out so you could clean my land up. He says that in, I believe it's 2nd Ezra, where he talks about like, man, they do all these things and they kill those that are destitute of help, the feast of blood, the devourers of men's flesh. Do you think that was happening in Israel? Some of that in Jerusalem. The Most High was like, oh yeah, I'm about to deliver my people. Y'all gonna go be my battle axe, as it says. and you guys are going to clean up my land, and you can finally be my people and not your God. And they rebelled. He said, well, this is why the calamity comes. He said, for they had them to be their enemies and avengers. Man, you against Esau, but then at the same time, you going to him and looking for his permission. And then read the next part. Let's read on.
Verse 16. By reason whereof sore calamity came upon them, for they had them to be their enemies and avengers, whose custom they follow so earnestly, and unto whom they desire to be like in all things.
Let me get this, since I still got this Merriam-Webster still pulled up. Earnestly. In an earnest or serious matter, not lightly, casually, or flippantly. Earnest, characterized by or proceeding from an intense and serious state of mind. Grave, important. So you're going to put the Most High's law down, do away with everything that actually makes you holy and acceptable, and desiring greatly to be able to be like the heathen and to have their customs and to have their ways. Sincerely wanting those things for themselves. It said, and unto whom they desire to be like in all things. Go ahead.
Verse 17. For it is not a light thing to do wickedly against the laws of God, but the time following shall declare these things.
He said, it's not a light thing to do against the laws of God. He said, but look at that last part. But the time following shall declare these things. He said, but they going to get it. They'll learn. You going to see. I remember being a child hearing that from my dad. Doing something, and it's, whether I thought I was going to get away with it, or, he ain't okay, I'm going to have to show you. And I'm like, He said, they were doing things, he said, but they going to see. And what ends up happening? Let's go back to 1 Maccabees. Whole lot of destruction. Whole lot of death. But that is crazy, because that's what Ashnapas was just going into in the lesson before this. Then all of a sudden, when all this calamity comes on, now people crying and praying out to the Most High, maybe we should go back and reopen the temple. What? Maybe, let's get back to dude, the Most High was the last thing on your mind. Now that everything's going to poop, it's time to go call upon the Most High. Most High he said, I'm putting this on D&D. Do not disturb. I'm not hearing them prayers. Are y'all serious? After all of that? 1 Maccabees chapter 1. Let's get 29 through 40.
This is the first book of Maccabees, chapter 1, and verse 29.
So this is just some of the things that were happening. Go ahead.
And after 2 years fully expired, the king sent his chief collector to tribute unto the cities of Judah, who came unto Jerusalem with a great multitude.
Go ahead.
And spake peaceable words unto them, but all was deceit. For when they had given him credence, he fell suddenly upon the city, and smote it very sore, and destroyed much people of Israel. And when he had taken the spoils of the city, he set it on fire, and pulled down the houses and walls thereof on every side. But the women and children took they captives and possessed the cattle.
So look at all that was happening. That didn't come out of nowhere. He went unto Jerusalem seeking tribute, right? Spoke peaceably. It wasn't just, that's why I said we had them to be our enemies and avengers. Well, maybe if we just do what they want, they'll stop. Nah, man, it's going to get way worse. Because it's not just like what they want you to do is to wear a different color. They want you to abandon the laws, statutes, and commandments. They want you to do wickedly in order to be accepted. So many of our people still looking for some handouts, still looking for some type of progression and going to Esau, feigning themselves, trimming their ways, looking for acceptance. That's not for you, Israelite. so-called Negro, Latino, that's not for our people. And even when they tried, Esau, the scriptures speak about Esau's intense hatred for our people. It ain't like it just goes away because, oh, you being obedient. Okay, I don't hate you anymore. He hates us to the bone. With his soul, he hates us. So after he spoke peaceably, and people was like, oh, okay, I think it's going to be cool. I think, he just got all them people with him for no reason. He started killing a bunch of people. Came into the city, started a slaughter. Then he took the spoils of the city, and that ain't enough. He done killed a bunch of people and robbed, our prominent areas of wealth, the temple, anything important. He done stole things that were valuable. Then he like, that ain't enough neither. Burn it down. Set it on fire. Then he pulled down the houses and walls thereof on every side. Destroy their houses. Even if somebody does survive, they're not going to have nothing to come back to. Then, hey, look, there's a bunch of women and children that are still left alive. Grab them. Take them as slaves. All of this from the same people that Israel just loves to coddle up with. All type of wickedness, but just like, and I said it, we be mad at Esau, but it's us. This didn't start this day. This is what was being held back by the Most High. As much as they felt like, oh, we've had trouble ever since we've departed from the heathen, not as much trouble as you're going to get when you join yourself to them. I bet they wish at that point, man, I wish we could go back to when we were a sovereign state. I wish we could go back to where they didn't have a base established right here in our borders and our coast and enforcing their laws upon us. Man, I wish we could go back to where the Most High was a defense and a protector, a shield around us. I wish we could go back to having what we had. But guess what? It's too late now. This is all judgment. Oh, they want that Edomite in there so bad? Let him in. Most High just sitting there watching it all go down. He can hear the thoughts of everyone. It says that in the Apocrypha. He can hear our thoughts. He's sitting there listening to the thoughts of these Edomites and these other nations that have come up. And he said, man, they about to kill all y'all. Y'all sitting up here, oh, yes, sir, yes, sir. He said, that's what they wanted. These are the fruits of the works that you've been putting in. You wanted to be joined so bad. You wanted to be equal so bad. You wanted everybody to be the same with you so bad. You wanted to be like everybody else so bad. Go reap your reward. Death, slaughter, everything being pulled down, houses on fire, women and children taken as captives. Read on.
Verse 33. They builded the city of David with a great and strong wall, and with mighty towers, and made it a strong hold for them.
What's the city of David? That's Jerusalem. They, meaning the heathen that had just committed these atrocities and just were successful in battle against Israel, they built it up. And then what did they do?
And they put therein a sinful nation, wicked men, and fortified themselves therein.
They said, even if these Israelites ever come to their senses and realize how much of an issue this is, even if they ever sit up here, he said, we're going to be in there, the most holy of their places, fortified. It's going to be extremely hard to get us out of here. He said, and make sure you put a sinful nation in there. I mean, I guess that wasn't all that unexpected because all the heathen are sinful. But now they're in the city of David. They're in the capital. By the time you lose the capital, bro, it's over. Temple is behind their borders and behind their walls. They done built a wall to keep Israelites out. Oh, man. This is what Israel wanted. This is what that I want to do what I want to do. This is that I see this influence over here. I like the way he said that. I like the ideals of these other nations. Yeah, and I mean, yeah, I know the Bible says this, but why do you think it's so hard for our people to distinguish the roles of man and woman? Because Esau is skewing those positions. Why do you think it's so hard for our people to distinguish and to differentiate right and wrong? Because they're going off of what they've been taught, and who's been influencing you? The heathen. The scriptures tell us what's good, keeping the commandments. The law is good. For I give ye good doctrine, forsake ye not my law. We know what's good, but because we always want to go off of, we want to be joined with the heathen so bad, look how many people is losing their life. And they did everything according to what the heathen told them to do. As far as the heathen was concerned, they did everything right, and it was a lose-lose. And now, you can't just turn around, hey, you know what, hey, you know, this whole heathen thing is not really working out. Tomorrow, I think we should go back and open the temple, start doing sacrifices. It's too late. Most High not cool with that. I'll take the hat off tomorrow, Most High, and, you know, I'll get back to being a priest. He like, but you already threw my priesthood off. Like, the temple's already defiled. The altar is defiled. You defiled. He said, y'all made yourselves uncircumcised. It's gonna take a major thing for the Most High to want to put his presence back in Israel. And now, even the capital, the city of David, has fallen to the heathen. It's all bad. Which verse were we at? 35. Go ahead.
Verse 35. They stored it also with armor and victuals, and when they had gathered together the spoils of Jerusalem, they laid them up there, and so they became a sore snare.
So now they fortifying Jerusalem so much, it was like there was nothing you could do. Even if we were trying to get back on track, it's too late. The heathen know what they doing. They like, hey, they might end up coming to their senses. First and foremost, they knew that they wanted to kill Israelites. So they like, oh, these idiots is going to let us in? Sure, first we'll give them treats like a dog. Sit, roll over. Oh, here, take a bone. Here, take a hat, take some riches, take a position. Yeah, okay, yeah. Here go another one, another one, another one. All this influence is spread. Then he said, okay, phase 2, start killing them. But make sure while you do, let's go into the most special place. Let's go into their capital. Establish everything in the capital, so even if they decide to rebel, they'll never have the same. They're cut off from their God. They can't even get to their temple. Then they went in and defiled and destroyed the temple. Go ahead.
Verse 36. For it was a place to lie in and wait against the sanctuary, and an evil adversary to Israel.
So if there was a priest that said, man, I can't do all these sacrifices on my own, but every day I'm going to come and I'm going to try and make sure that I get as many of them done. I'm going to still send up these prayers. Now the heathen are in the capital. And they're lying in wait at the sanctuary, waiting to catch those that are trying to turn back to the Most High so they can kill them. Because they know that's the only way Israel is going to repent. And it was ultimately by those that were still trying to be righteous that Israel was delivered. The heathen know this. So they come and they are killing those that are coming to the sanctuary. Go ahead.
Verse 37. Thus they shed innocent blood on every side of the sanctuary and defiled it.
Now it's done. They killing so many people. They didn't kill people. Blood getting on the wall. Blood splashing every which way. Now it's like the sanctuary is defiled. Now it can't even be used for its purpose, even if you could make it there. This is what letting them in did. Yahawah is going. He's not going to be cool with that. He's going to avenge. He was like, oh, they don't want to listen. They want to do. I'm gonna get them. Go ahead.
Insomuch that the inhabitants of Jerusalem fled because of them, whereupon the city was made an habitation of strangers, and became strange to those that were born in her, and her own children left her.
Go ahead.
Her sanctuary was laid waste like a wilderness. Her feasts were turned into mourning, her Sabbaths into reproach, her honor into contempt.
So it was so bad. Those that were still living in Jerusalem, whether they consented to having the heathen there or not, they had to get out of there. They was getting put to death. People were dying all the time, dying daily. They like, we got to leave. Then it says, it became a habitation of strangers. Her own children have left. So now there's hardly any, or there's no Israelites left. Her sanctuary was laid waste like a wilderness. You see these these like movies and series, 28 days later, 28 hours later, The Last of Us, just all these different series, or even Chernobyl, all these different series and areas of the world. Once people stop inhabiting an area, it is subject to overgrowth. Then, somewhere along the line, a plant finds its way into a building. You got ivy and stuff growing all up and down the walls. That's what happened to the sanctuary. The sanctuary was so messed up that it was stuff growing in there, shrubs, and everything was just running in there every which way. It was abandoned. Her feasts were turned into mourning. So now it's like people are realizing, oh man, I can see the first crescent, the first light. It's the new moon. Damn, I'm so far from home. I don't know how many other Israelites are even trying to observe this new moon. I don't know how many Israelites there might even be left out there. It's all bad. Oh man, it could have, because right after winter is spring, and this didn't happen immediately. So I'm pretty sure they were like, oh, this should have been the first month of the year. Then they see that new moon, or excuse me, that full moon. They're like, oh, this is supposed to be Passover. They was breaking down like, oh my God, look what happened to us. Her feasts were turned into mourning. Her Sabbaths into reproach. What are you doing on Saturday? Oh, I'm going to be keeping the Sabbath. Huh? I'm going to be keeping the Sabbath. You still keeping the Sabbath? Now, that could have been dangerous. On the one hand, people don't want you to be any different from everybody else. That was the whole point of the heathen. On the other hand, you might get turned in. That man over there, he's still observing the Sabbath. And that's no different. This is no different than what we're going to see in the destruction and the end of this world and this kingdom. He said they're going to deliver you up to death. Brother against brother, father to his... All these people that you think is cool, and I'm not saying start looking at your family and friends with this evil eye. You're still trying to win them over. We're still fishers of men. But you got to understand, it's going to be more than just, favor or, the love you have for somebody and the love they say they got for you. This is what was happening, and this is what we're headed back towards. Why? Because Israel's doing the same thing. Try to sit up here and tell an Israelite. Now, mind you, not all Israel knows they're Israel, but try to sit up here and tell an Israelite, maybe they don't even know they're Israel. You're an Israelite. Most don't even care. You would think when we talk about the great war of ignorance, we're talking about being unaware, but you know what else is in ignorance? Ignore. A lot of Israel ignores all this information. Brothers is out teaching, crying aloud, come back to the Most High, come back to your heritage, come back to salvation, be saved, repent for the kingdom of heaven is at hand. And people ignore it. Roll up their window. You try to walk up to them and hand them literature. It's like, damn. What? This is what was going on and some. Shalom. This is what was going on. Her honor into contempt. Go ahead.
Verse 40.
Uh-huh.
As had been her glory, so was her dishonor increased, and her excellency was turned into mourning.
And the same way that the heathen can look and say, surely this is a wise and understanding people, because look at the laws that they have. Look at the way that they separate themselves. Man, those Jews, I don't know if you've ever heard, they keep something called the Sabbath. Every week, their whole city shuts down. Every week, yeah. If you're not a doctor or someone who, you have a profession where somebody needs around the clock care, and it's like, oh, this is my family member, he has a wound, I gotta stay here for the day and make sure he good. But guess what? He ain't eating no cooked food. I'm gonna keep the Sabbath though. He eating some cold leftovers or something we cooked earlier before the sun went down and we didn't put it up so it don't get too cold. They were able to see the way our nation operated as a nation and say, wow. And the same way they were saying, wow, look at these people, this is impressive. They were looking at Jerusalem and looking at the rest of Israel and saying, oh, wow, these are them Jews? These are the chosen of God? They look, for one, they've abandoned their God, abandoned their customs, their covenant. Then, I mean, look at what's going on amongst their nation. It looked like it was like a shanty. I don't know what they call that. Where all a bunch of pirates gather. You know, it'd just be like a gutter area. Just everybody, every time you see that type of stuff, it just be the worst area. It just, stuff is going crazy. Everybody committing their own type of crime in their own bubbles. You want to do this, you got to go to that section. You want to fornicate, you got to go upstairs with the wooty woo. You want to do this, you got to be over there. These guys out here is committing idolatry. They was looking at all of Israel like this. All these districts. Oh, that's the place for this type of sin. That's the place for that type of sin. They looking at, and they said the same way they used to say, this is an incredible place. Wow. They looking at how far Israel fell, and they saying, wow. Would have never thought. The people that was always on top like that, they at the bottom of the bottom. Let's go to Ecclesiastes. So all that wickedness, the Most High, he said, okay. What did he say in verse 17 of 2 Maccabees 4? He said, they're going to see. As surely as the time passes, they'll see. Ecclesiastes chapter 12 and verse 14.
This is the book of Ecclesiastes, chapter 12, and verse 14. For God shall bring every work into judgment with every secret thing, whether it be good or whether it be evil.
So guess what? A lot of these things that were happening in Israel, they were happening openly, right? Now, okay. A lot of these things that were happening in Israel, they were happening openly. And the Most High brought desolation and destruction openly, right? Mind you, they was doing wrong with the wrong intentions. But you can even do right with the wrong intentions, and it still doesn't count, and it still doesn't qualify. Let's go to 1 Corinthians. First Corinthians 13. And we're going to start at verse 1.
This is the first book of Corinthians, chapter 13, and verse 1. Though I speak with the tongues of men and of angels, and have not charity, I become as a sounding brass or a tinkling cymbal. And though I have the gift of prophecy and understand all mysteries and all knowledge, and though I have all faith so that I could remove mountains and have not charity, I am nothing.
Go ahead.
And though I bestow all my goods to feed the poor, and though I give my body to be burned, and have not charity, it profiteth me nothing.
So what he's showing is charity isn't just the act of giving, it's the intent, right? Let's go to 1 Samuel chapter 16. First Samuel 16. And let's read verse 7.
This is the first book of Samuel, chapter 16, and verse 7. But the Lord said unto Samuel, look not on his countenance, or on the height of his stature, because I have refused them. For the Lord seeth not as man seeth. For man looketh on the outward appearance, but the Lord looketh on the heart.
So, we see all these things that were happening during the time before the rededication of the temple. But even before that, you don't think that was already kind of being geared up to happen because the Lord is able to see what's going on in people's minds? Even in the time of Noah, the Most High said, and the scriptures record, the thoughts of man was only evil continually. It was all evil. He like, dang, it's one thing. Y'all down there doing all this stuff. You're not even thinking about repentance. No remorse. No thought of the Most High. No desire to have things set right. It was just evil. So a lot of times, in the same way that our people were doing evil back then, feeling like they was getting away with it, they were so happy to bring in the Greeks. They were so happy to bring in these new customs, the new fashion, these new gods, the hats, right? They felt so proud, like, oh, this is just so cool. Think you're getting away with it, and the whole time the Lord's just taking records saying, okay, all right. Then instead of, because you already know he's well thought out, intelligence and wisdom beyond what we can even fathom. Scriptures talk about the kingdom being prepared since the foundation of the earth. Don't you think punishments are the same way? We can sit up here and while you're in the Most High's grace and favor, he's like, oh man, I want to give you this, I want to give you that. I know you like this type of stuff, but you ain't never seen it like this. And then in the same way, the Most High could easily sit back and say, oh, I know you're afraid of this. I know you're afraid of that. And I know you think you were scared this time, but you've never seen it done like this. He killed all those in Egypt, it said, with dreams. Dreams that they couldn't wake up from. Not with the sword, not with asteroids and had just one little pebble come in and hit every firstborn in the forehead. He just gave them a dream that they couldn't wake up from. What is that, Freddy Krueger? Right? He the one chasing people around. He's in their dreams, and they're like, oh, I just want to wake up. I want to wake up. That's how the Most High killed all those in Egypt. He can plan it out to say, he said, I'm going to give you according to your works, whether they good or evil. If you're doing good, there's nothing to worry about. But even then, even Yahawah said, why callest thou me good? If he's not considering himself good, I'm not going to sit up here and say, oh, yeah, I'm at this level. Hey, you know what? I'm going to keep working. And Most High willing, by the time that my last breath is taken, I'm at an acceptable point. He said, the Lord's not looking as man's looking. People, people think they get away with stuff. People sin in secret. People lie. People deceive. Let's go to Sirach chapter 23. Sirach 23, verse 19.
This is the book of Ecclesiasticus, chapter 23, and verse 19. Such a man only feareth the eyes of men, and knoweth not the eyes of the Lord are 10,000 times brighter than the sun, beholding all thy ways of men, and considering the most secret parts.
So he was talking about a man that's laying down, and he felt like he was getting away with it. He's breaking wedlock, meaning he's committing adultery, and he felt like he's getting away with it. He looking around, he's like, well, the walls is dark. It's dark outside. The curtains are up. I got the blackout curtains. These are the extra special. And he said, you don't even realize the eyes of the Most High are 10,000 times brighter than the sun. We can't even look at the sun for a prolonged period of time without going blind. You can't withstand the intensity of its heat without any type of protection, or it can kill you. And his eyes, the way he looks at things, are 10,000 times brighter than that. Then he said he considers the inward parts. Let's go to Matthew 6 real quick. Let's start at verse 1.
This is the book of Matthew, chapter 6, and verse 1. Take heed that ye do not your alms before men, to be seen of them. Otherwise, ye have no reward of your Father which is in heaven.
So remember, just a moment ago, we're for lack of better words, I said we can do the right things. Because the scriptures show us we can do the right things with the wrong intentions. The right things and it's not acceptable, right? He said, and then mind you, this talking about someone that's paying alms. Are they doing wrong because they're paying alms? That's what's a good thing. The scriptures speak about the good of alms. But this person wants to be seen. This person's announcing to the world because they want men to look at them with a certain level of reverence and hold them in a certain level of regard. Go ahead.
Verse 2. Therefore, when thou doest thine alms, do not sound a trumpet before thee, as the hypocrites do in the synagogues and in the streets, that they may have glory of men. Verily I say unto you, they have their reward.
He said they have their reward. You got what you were looking for. That's why he said he's judging men based on the innermost intent of their secret parts. So whatever it is that you're doing, the Most High is judging your intent. You could do, again, you could do the right thing the wrong way. And I don't want to say you can do the wrong thing the right way. That ain't right. But sometimes there can be misunderstandings or things that the Most High has to reveal that seem wrong that end up being right. Right? I think about Samson desiring Delilah, and it said the Lord had an occasion against the Philistines. Now, was Samson right for going and taking a wife of the heathen? I don't see that being permissible in the law. But even that evil, the Most High can turn it into the good for Israel, right? We see all these different instances in Scripture where the Most High, he wants to know what people are thinking. He wants to know how what's going through their minds. Oh, yeah, I'm going to go over here. I'm going to give him a plate. But whole time, y'all been beefing for years. And you can't wait to go over there and see your adversary broken and hurt. I'm going to be the one to feed him. I can't wait to see the look on his face when I hand him this plate. Guess what? That don't count towards your righteousness. You going over there with some evil intentions. That ain't a good thing. All these different things that we can do, there's endless examples, but all the different things that we can do, and the Most High is judging the intent. Yeah. Yeah, a lot of prophets that were doing wrong. It was a lot. Still is. Let's go back to 2 Maccabees. Here's a better example, because I was kind of drawing a blank, but all praise to the Most High. There's already a good example of something that was being done in secret that was revealed. That the Most High was, the Most High was on it. 2 Maccabees chapter 12. We're going to read 38 through 41.
There's the second book of Maccabees, chapter 12, and verse 38. So Judas gathered his host and came into the city of Odolam. And when the seventh day came, they purified themselves as the custom was, and kept the Sabbath in the same place. And upon the day following, as the use have been, Judas and his company came to take up the bodies of them that were slain, and to bury them with their kinsmen in their fathers' graves.
So, mind you, bringing it back to dedication, bringing it back to the Maccabees. They went to battle. They took a break for the Sabbath, and then after the Sabbath, or sometime during this time, they start gathering up the bodies of those that had died in the battle. Right? Go ahead. Oh, and it says, bury them in their kinsmen. So we're talking about Israelites that had died. Go ahead.
Verse 40. Now under the coats of every one that was slain, they found things consecrated to the idols of the Jamnites, which is forbidden the Jews by the law. Then every man saw that this was the cause, wherefore they were slain.
So they started to realize, and that's the thing, right? Sometimes from a distance, we don't always understand things. And I'm pretty sure they were confused trying to like make sense of what was going on. They're like, man, we out here fighting for the law. We out here fighting for the Most High. We're out here standing against the wickedness. Why are these men falling? And it wasn't like it was everybody, but I think it was 200 of them. It was like, man, what's going on? They seemed like they was doing the right thing. Then they take the stuff off their body. They're like, oh, this dude had an idol on him. Like, dang, for real? Yeah, the idol of the Janites. Man, we're not supposed to have this. And went and found another body. This dude had the same idol. And they went and found another and another and another and so on and so forth. And they said, oh, everybody that died had an idol on them. They was doing that in secret, right? Going out to war under the guise of the Most High, under the guise of righteousness, under the guise of defending the gospel, defending the law. And then secretly they got their idols that they trusting is going to bring them home safely. They died with those idols. Then the people were able to see, oh, this is why these guys died amongst us. They had these idols on them. They were idolaters. Whether they felt fear, whether they felt the same courage as Judas Maccabeus and the rest of his host, they were trusting in this idol and they lost their lives because of it. It was already, the Most High was already planning. I'm behind the scenes. This is how it's going to happen. Bringing their wickedness upon them. Go ahead.
Verse 41. All men therefore praising the Lord, the righteous judge, who had opened the things that were hid.
So they were starting to celebrate. Like, oh, all praises. Now we understand. It was the Lord that had brought those things out that were hid. Then they started to pray and fast. Matter of fact, let's read that. Verse 42.
Verse 42. Betook themselves unto prayer and besought him that the sin committed might wholly be put out of remembrance. Besides that, noble Judas exhorted the people to keep themselves from sin. For so much as they saw before their eyes the things that came to pass for the sins of those that were slain.
So they prayed for him and they said, Lord, please forgive them. And then he said, hey, y'all, those of us that remain, we got to make sure that we right. Because this could easily be our fate if we sit up here and slip up and start going to serve other gods, start going onto the wrong path, start believing the wrong things. That stuff was in their minds. They didn't rob anybody, kill anybody, commit adultery, fornicate. They had something wrong with their mind in believing that this idol that they carving out and that they're engraving and making themselves was going to save them in a battle that is the Lord's. And it's the same thing with, it could be anything. Any sin that's hidden and that the Most High is saying, okay, here's some judgment. And then all you can do is pray for their soul. Last scripture, Matthew 16 and 27. So not just idolatry, not just putting away the temple, right? If you're a liar, a deceiver, a whisperer, double-tongued, malicious, iniquitous, an idolater, a fornicator, whatever you may be, whatever people continue to choose to be, Yahawah will requite. Matthew 16 and 27.
This is the book of Matthew, chapter 16 and verse 27. For the Son of Man shall come in the glory of his Father with his angels. And then he shall reward every man according to his works.
He said he's going to reward every man according to his works. So if you're striving to do righteous and you're striving to keep the commandments and you have a sincere heart, guess what? What's waiting for you, for your good, is the kingdom of heaven. Death is no more. Sorrow no more. Being with the King in a beautiful city that is so amazing and so beautiful, it hasn't even entered into the minds and hearts of man to conceive. Blessings beyond measure. Even immortality itself is a blessing beyond measure. So much of what we concern ourselves with, and the triviality and the trivial nature of this life is because we're mortal. And so you got to get money ASAP because you're mortal. And you don't want to sleep on the street and be uncomfortable and be in danger. And you don't want to have to skip meals. And all these different things are just because we're mortal. Even the rush to get everything. The rush to establish yourself. The rush to be an owner. The rush to be on top. The rush to be successful. It's because we're mortal. All these things and more are promised to the righteous. Immortality. Right to the tree of life, peace, life in abundance, even more than the life in abundance that we live now. And for the wicked, the lake of fire, judgment, not just fire, it says where the worm dies not. The Most High, Yahawah from the command of the Father, is going to come and execute judgment upon the earth. As a matter of fact, let me get one more scripture. Romans 12 and 19.
This is the book of Romans, chapter 12 and verse 19. Dearly beloved, avenge not yourselves, but rather give place unto wrath, for it is written, vengeance is mine, I will repay, saith the Lord.
So it's not for us right now to take every wrong that's committed against us and say, I'm going to get you, and I can't wait to, especially when it comes to your people. To our people, we should be exercising mercy and hoping that they repent and praying for them, right? Those that are worthy to be prayed for, because the scriptures do say that there were sins. He was like, I say that you should not pray for it. But for those that are struggling, that want to get right, that are trying to repent, he said you should pray for them, right? And avenge not yourselves. And it's not for us right now to go against the heathen and try and destroy, and we waiting on the call. The Most High, Yahawah is going to come with his angels and enforce and make Israel his battle axe. He's going to come in his vengeance and say, now, under the authority that Yahawah will give you, go and do what you got to do. Go and do according to my instruction. Go handle business. And even then, he said, look, this one I got myself. They said, who is this coming out with a garment drenched like he came out the wine press? He said, nah, I got this one. Y'all go over there, though. Go get them. I got this one. Go handle your business in that city. Yeah, he said, this one, I'm doing this one solo. I got a bone to pick. But all praises to the Most High, Israel. So, from personal matters that we experience within our daily lives, to the heathen themselves, to the world that's against us, to, whatever the case may be, no matter what happens, take solace in the fact that all these things are not happening without recourse. All of these things are not happening without the Most High's judgment. All of these things are not happening, and that's just, they'll just continue to be, and then we all gonna be in heaven together. The heathen, Israelites, all people. Man, what? As much as I read about God being a just God, I'm struggling to see the justice and having the same people that have done all the atrocities that we can read about to our forefathers and the things that we've seen in recent history that is documented receive the same reward as us. I have a hard time seeing that as just. But Yahawah will requite. All praise to the Most High. Shalom, Israel.
If it wasn't for the Most High who was on my side, man, ain't no telling where I'd be. Mr. Wilson would've known. Can't nobody tell me nothing different. The Father's been good to me. So good to me. Yeah. Wave your hands if you feel me. I'm a witness. Yahawah's been good to me. So good to me. Every morning that I rise, I thank Yahawah that I'm living. Keep my enemies at bay and never leave without my fringes. 1611 with me cause I'm on a mission. Talking sheep,